So today I'm going to be showing you how I made the beat for my latest single, Remember 17. If you're interested in hearing the full version, you can check that out on Spotify now. The Saturday Night Dance remix version is set to be released on May 1st. I have a lot of new music coming out this year, and if you follow me on Spotify, then all of that will show up on your release radar. If you have any questions about anything I did in this video, drop a comment below, and I'll do my best to respond. If you find this video helpful, please like it, subscribe to this channel, and hit the notification bell to be notified of future uploads. So I'm just going to play some of it to start, and then I'll break it down.
Remember 17, it wasn't long ago, back when you and I were up against the world. You said you'd never leave me, and you said goodbye. Free train inside my head, and I just can't catch my breath. Baby, how could you kiss my neck, then run away like we never met? I need a shot of something, I need a shot of something strong. You weren't there for me, you never let me talk. You want me to take the blame, but baby, it wasn't all my fault. I need a shot of something, I need a shot of something strong. All these years I blame myself, but I think I was wrong. Remember 17, it wasn't long ago, back when you and I were up against the world. You said you'd never leave me, and you said goodbye. Remember 17, flying down the road, kissing in your car when we had no place to go. You said you'd never leave me, and you said goodbye.
So the main instrument that glues this track together is the guitar, and you can hear that here. There's lots of different guitar parts. The main riff is repeated in the verses and the chorus. The pre-chorus has a different part. So it's fingerpicking with that same chord progression in the pre. And chorus 2 has strumming with that same chord progression.
Against the world, you said you'd never leave me, and you said goodbye. Remember 17, flying down the road.
So it switches back to the main riff there, and the bridge has a lead guitar part that comes in right here. And that stays through the final chorus.
We're up against the world. You said you'd never leave me.
And it stays through the outro too.
I just can't catch my
So I recorded that signal direct with my Fender Strat Elite guitar going into my Apollo Twin preamp, and then I added processing and effects later in Ableton. So the bass is another big part of this song, and you can hear the Juno 60 part right here. So the Juno 60 is my analog synthesizer, and I recorded that direct into my Apollo Twin, and then I added multiband compression and processing to make it stand out in the mix later in Ableton. Then I also have the sub bass part here. And that's just operator. And different layers of the bass come in different sections of the song. You can hear the lower sub bass here coming in the second half of verse 1.
Maybe it wasn't all my fault. I need a shot of something, I need a shot of something strong.
So since that lower sub bass only comes in the second half of the verse, the track is starting to gain momentum and grow going into the pre-chorus. So you can hear in the chorus it sounds like this.
You and I were up against the world. You said
So a little bit bigger than in the verses, and then I put some reverb on that, which gave it some space in the mix and gave the track some vibe. So some other things we got going on throughout the track, there's a lot of risers, and many of the risers are just simple to create a little bit of subtle momentum. So you can hear a reverse cymbal sound there. And then with other risers, I studied the vocal, and I automated the pitch informant in Little Altar Boy, and I'll show that later on in the video. So let's take a look at some other things. I got some chimes here.
Wasn't long ago, back when you and I, you said you'd never leave me, and
And those help to brighten up the choruses. So that's just a percussion loop with various parameters of Little Altar Boy automated. So that's a laugh with the formant lowered, soaked in reverb.
all these years I blame.
Then in the intro I had some vinyl distortion here.
Back when you and I were up against the world, you said you'd never leave me, and then you said goodbye.
So here's one of the vocal risers. You can see that the filter's opening up. And I'm automating the pitch informant too.
All these years I myself, but I think I was wrong.
So I also automated the dry, wet, and microshift. You can't see that here because I had to freeze a lot of the tracks since the session's so big. So let's take a look at some other things in the track. I put a whoop effect in here.
An overlap. I need a shot of something. I need a shot you were talking to. You said it was.
So little things like that just add some interest to the track. So I made that in massive, and I got an envelope affecting the pitch. So one of the envelopes is pitching the synth down, as you can hear here. And the other is pitching it up. Together they sound like this. So that's the full whoop sound.
Overlap. I need a shot of something. I need a shot of something strong.
So one of my favorite parts of this track is this little makeshift pad that I created, and you can hear that here. So I think it adds kind of a cool vibe to it. And if you take off this decapitator and reverb here, you can see it's just an arpeggiated silent preset. So I don't think that sounds very cool on its own, but when you distort and add reverb to that sound, and you add more processing, and then you go and distort that processed sound, then you get kind of a cool pad sound that comes out. And that just fills a lot of spaces up in the mix from the bridge through the outro. So some other things in the track, I got a piano here that's being distorted, and it almost sounds like a synthesizer. But it's just a preset in the Alicia Keys piano plugin in Contact with decapitator and reverb on it.
Flying down the road, kissing in your car when we had no place to go. You said.
So some other elements in the production, I put some bass in here.
I think I was wrong.
So that comes in the second pre-chorus, and it also comes in the second half of the choruses, and you can hear it here.
Kissing in your car when we had no place to go. You said you never.
So that's being played by the Juno 60 analog synthesizer again. And then you have this part here, which is also played by the Juno 60.
Flying down the road, kissing in your car when we had no place to go. You said.
So then I high-passed that sound to take out some of the mud and to make room for the kick. And then I boosted 10K so it would pop out more in the mix. And then I got a vocoder here in the second pre-chorus. And I decided to make that vocoder a more prominent effect in the dance remix. So in the context of the mix, it sounds like this.
All these years I blame myself, but I think I was wrong.
I I got another riser here. So that's got tremolator on it, and it's also got shaper box on it, which I like to use for automated rhythmic filter effects. So I got another riser here. So that just has the formant and the pitch being automated with the little altar boy. So I mix the beat and the vocals in different sessions because when you're working with so many different files, CPU starts to become an issue. And sometimes I take the acapella 2-track in the beat session and I make risers out of them. So some other stuff in the beat. I used to have some vinyl distortion in the outro. So here we got the main drum kit, and the quality and rhythmic pattern of the drums is what gives this a hip-hop feel. And then here I'm infusing other genres by including an EDM drum riser.
I think I was wrong. Remember 17.
So here I have a dummy lead vocal track that you can't hear in the song, but it's being fed into a multiband compressor on the guitar track. And what it's doing is it's ducking 1 to 5K to make more room for the intelligibility of the vocals where the consonants live in the mix.
I was wrong. Remember 17, wasn't long ago.
So what this is doing is it's ducking the guitar only in the 1 to 5K range and only when the vocal occurs to make room for the vocal in the mix. So again, this vocal is a sidechain vocal. I use SC to mean sidechain. It's not something that you're hearing in the mix, but it's rather being used to trigger the multiband compressor. And then in the bridge, I have a number of different percussion loops all layered here. And there's a filter opening up on it.
Me cold, I'm bad now.
And there's a loop that comes in at the end here too.
Me cold, I'm bad now.
So that's pretty much it for the beat. The last big thing with this track is the vocals. And if I solo the final chorus, that's where you can hear it most prominently. There's a lot of doubles and harmonies and different ad-libs and layers and textures that come in, including the bridge vocals that come back in. So I'll solo that here and you can hear it.
Remember 17, it wasn't long ago, back when you and I were up against the world. You said you'd never leave me, and you said goodbye. Remember 17, flying down the road, kissing in your car when we had no place to go. You said you'd never leave me, and you said goodbye. I just can't catch my breath.
So this session is the latest beat, but that was actually an alternate ending for the outro stuttered vocals. So that pretty much does it for this video. If you found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of new videos when they become available. You can also listen to the final version of this song as well as the remix version on Spotify, and if you click follow, then all of my new music will end up on your release radar. That's all I got for this video. Thanks.
Remember 17, it wasn't long ago, back when you and I were up against the world. You said you'd never leave me, and then you said goodbye. Free train inside my head, I just can't catch my breath. Baby, how could you